And then obviously you'll work with various promoters along the way as a trainer and in that capacity. But you alluded there before to Barry Hearn. Obviously Eddie, his son, now is making massive inroads into not just European boxing, probably global boxing with things like, you know, the Wembley event in May. Do you think he has been a breath of fresh air for boxing as a promoter, Eddie? You seem to have a decent rapport with him from what I've seen.
Well, do you know what? The amount of stick where I say, oh, I'm up at Eddie's backside or whatever, and I laugh about it, it's further from the truth. We're at it cat and dog all the time because, listen, I have fighters that thingy for him, but I'm always looking after the best interests of my fighters, and Eddie's sometimes wanting to, listen, if Callum Smith won't have an hand injury, most were fighting Andre Ward in the summer, his progression was going that fast. But no, listen, he's come along. Sky did what they did with the promoters and only working with one. And like you say, Eddie Hearn, yeah, he's doing a good show. That they've done away with a lot of the small hall shows now. It's big arenas, events all the time, whether you're up in Glasgow, in Cardiff, you're in Sheffield, you're in Manchester, Liverpool, London, the big shows. And I think that's what boxing needed, them big shows. And there was a cry sometimes saying the UFC was taking over, but they've come and gone. But like you say, Eddie Hearn's come there now, and Frank Warren there. People thought Frank Warren's like the Bob Arum of American boxing, and everyone thinks he's finished and he's coming back now, hitting big shows. And Box Nation at the same time, they set up a TV network, they're doing well. And I think Mick Hennessy with Channel 5 and that light heavyweight season, the people always talk about the golden times in British boxing. But when you think back in the golden times, all we ever had was American boxing, which was on World of Sport on a Saturday afternoon, or Grandstand or Sports Night on a Wednesday night, and we've never had it so good. We've got a boxing channel and Box Nation now. We've got 3-4 hours live boxing on a Saturday night with Sky, with Matchroom, and then you've got Hennessy Sports with Channel 5 boxing as well. So we've never had it so good, and competition's healthy competition. I think Frank was ruling for a long time. Barry was there doing great shows, obviously had great fights at the time, Michael Brody, Naz and all that. It died away, Frank was ruling it, but now Eddie's come back and it's made Frank pick up his game again now, and that's all healthy, and I'm sure Eddie will come again. And obviously Mick Hennessy, he's got his stable of fighters coming through, so I think it's a great thing, and it's good to have healthy competition, and it's good for the fighters as well, that they're not just limited to one promoter, that they have a choice to go to. And at the end of the day, it's a living and a way of earning a living. It'd be no good just having one football club because they'd have no one to play against, would they?
No, that's very true. It's a good point. Yeah. And then obviously, sort of from a British boxing fan's perspective, sort of a lot of, particularly in the next couple of months, it all culminates on 31st of May at Wembley. Obviously, you've got a couple of your high-profile fighters in action on the 19th of April. That's probably, in terms of time frames, a bit unrealistic in terms of turning around a fighter and trying to get them out 5 weeks later if they've been in a grueling fight, isn't it? But you might not be able to disclose anything at this stage, but are you planning on hopefully being on that bill with a couple of fighters? Yeah,
hopefully that's the plan. We'll see. Obviously, everyone knows the top of the bill. There's a few tweets from a few fighters. I think Kevin Mitchell's tweeted one saying Wembley, here we come. So I think he's been given. It seems to be a bit like a trip to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, doesn't it? You need a gold ticket to get to this event. So hopefully, one or two of my fighters will get a golden ticket and be on the bill. Like I said, there's 4 of them on April the 19th. I'll just have to see which 1 or 2. Obviously, Callum Smith. He's one of the best prospects in the world, and I'm sure there's a showcase like that. They'd want him on there, but he's fighting 2 weeks before that. Yeah. So it'll be tough for him. Scott Quigg, he's fighting a world title, so I don't know what the turnaround. Listen, he's got a tough fight. Crawler, listen, he won't be fighting him after a tough fight with John Murray. So, like you say, there's a few kids there that possibly could be on it, but we'll just have to take one fight at a time first, and first up's April the 19th, and then assess the damage after that.
And I sort of mentioned, sticking with Wembley, I mentioned to Stephen Smith before, you know, he's a Liverpool fan, he's been there with his team supporting Liverpool at Wembley. As a United fan, you know, we've been to Wembley lots over the years. I imagine you might have been to follow United there a few times. Can you envisage what Wembley will be like? I mean, you might have been there for, was it Bruno back in '94 when he fought there? Have you ever been to Wembley for a boxing event? Not
to a boxing event, no, I haven't. No.
Can you envisage the difference between supporting a football team there and what a boxing event will be like?
I'll tell you what, you need a big pair of binoculars. I don't know. Listen, to go out there, I just hope that the weather holds up. That's the main concern. What we don't want is a wash up. I remember when Tyson fought up in Glasgow that time and there's the rain. I just hope that the weather holds up. It'd be a fantastic experience, but to be at Wembley and to listen to that crowd and that roar, kind of puts hairs on the back of your neck now, and for it to happen in British boxing, and I think it's good for American boxing to look over and see how well Britain is doing and what the appeal it's showing them with Froch and Groves rematch. And like I say, I'm a big fan of American boxing. I do think boxing exists in the west side of America, do you know what I mean, in LA. That's where it all is, the trainers, the fights, the venues, the Mayweathers, the De La Hoyas, all over there. But it's good, like you say, to see what Bob Arum's doing over in China there with Zhu Shiming and Top Rank. And obviously then, like you say, Britain, and like I say, the fight shows in Germany, they're always packed out. And I think boxing is in a very healthy state worldwide. And like you say, to go to Wembley, to an 80,000 arena event, that's like when we used to watch Kids Chavez over there in Mexico. And that, it's just, God, we've got that on our doorstep. And touch wood, hopefully one of my kids, like you say, gets the golden ticket to be on the undercard.
Fantastic. And you sort of mentioned it before briefly. Your annual trips out to Freddie Roach's Wildcard in LA, they've sort of been well documented. I think Ringside did a piece on it, didn't they, and what have you. They kind of roused a bit of intrigue amongst the boxing fraternity in the UK. What have you personally acquired from Freddie, watching, just observing Freddie as a trainer?
I think for me and the fighters going over there, like you say, we go to Freddie's, we've been to Gooson's gym, we've been to a few other gyms over there. But I think Freddie, for all the success that he's had and the world title fights he's been involved, is his humbleness, his down to earth. He's willing to help people. He takes time out to ask everyone how are you, whoever people visitors to the gym. But then when it comes to in the ring and his pads and the intensity, and he knows his fighters so well, and you can't be in that environment, not just learning Freddie, but learning off his fighters as well, watching how professional they are and how they're expected and what's asked of them. You cannot beat that, being in that company, in that gymnasium. And even Eric Brown, who trains a fantastic trainer, Ray Beltran's trainer there as well, a fantastic trainer. There's the Freddie's there, but he's got some really good Little Marvin is a really good trainer there as well. They're all good trainers in their own rights. Box out of the Wildcard, and isn't just Freddie, it's the other fighters and trainers that are in there that make it such an experience. You can sit there like I do and just watch from 10 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening, and you can watch different fighters. You see Sean Porter in there with his dad, you see Mosley in there, little Mosley there with his dad, you see Mike Tyson's son in there. Just cannot help but learn watching different trainers, different methods, and they come from all over Australia, Germany, all over the world into that gym. They convey on it, and to sit back and watch and pick and learn. Like you say, it's a university, and you're always striving to make yourself better. And the relationship I have with Freddie, I'm very fortunate. I pinch myself as a boxing fan that I talk to him and he knows who I am. That's just goosebump stuff. That's still in, mate. Do you know what I mean? And I love going over there, and I love the environment over there.
And do you have sort of an ongoing dialogue with him?
Yeah, all the time. I was on the phone to him, not this weekend, the weekend gone, regarding sparring partners. A couple of sparring partners I wanted to bring over.
Right.
So yeah, definitely we speak on the phone at least once a month.
And would you ever consult him, big fights coming up? Would you ever say, Freddie, I've got this idea here? Would you not pick his brains?
No, I wouldn't. When we're together, we sit and talk, and he tells me his things on some things, and I tell him mine. And it's good to bounce off Joe Trainer's opinion, just like when Virgil Hunter was here with Amir Khan, and Billy Nelson was down last week with these fighters. We sit and we talk, and you learn. And I think that's a great thing. I don't think it happens an awful lot. But when the opportunity does come, like I say, Virgil, we went and sat 2 hours in his company talking and listening, and you cannot listen enough and learn enough. And but I wouldn't phone Freddie for that. Not saying that I wouldn't do, but if I felt the need be, then I would do. I'm not afraid to ask, but that's how you learn. You learn by your mistakes, but sometimes you don't want to have too many mistakes. Very
true. Well, thanks a lot for your time today, Joe. Really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming down and taking the time.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.